Hello everybody, my name is Blue and today we are doing something a bit different. I've said that a lot for a lot of the videos. That's because I'm experimenting with ideas for videos. On this particular video I am doing a diorama build, and it's sort of like I guess an art piece, you could say. It's different colours represented in either environments or buildings or whatever. And the idea is that for every colour I can only use pieces in that respective colour. So for this one, green was quite a simple one since all the plants are green, so I thought, you know, just make a forest. But you have to keep in mind, even the rocks, even any building piece, every single thing has to be green. The idea is that it's just one monochrome colour, just one tint. Obviously, since the plants are not all exactly the same colour, it won't look completely the same. The idea is that it's all the same green. And the same for yellow and for all the other colours. And they all get a nice title. As you can see, this is the yellow dunes, although I change up the name later. I replace it with the yellow steppes since I think it felt more like grassland savanna instead of a like actual dunes. But yeah, I tried to come up with an interesting theme. They're not all as detailed as the others. As you can see, I've already done the white one, which is actually like a blizzard, but something went wrong with the recording again. But yeah, for yellow, I went for a grassland, and I call it the yellow steppe. Grey, you can guess along, I guess, what the name could be for each colour. For grey, I went for, obviously, I thought rocks are most iconic in this game being grey, so I went for the a very rocky environment. And also, as you can see, there are two koalas, and what I did is for every colour, I chose an animal that represents the colour the best. Obviously, you have to keep in mind that, you know, the animals aren't that diverse when it comes to colour options. Grey is quite an easy one. There's a handful of grey animals. I just chose the koalas because they're the greyest in my opinion. But you have to keep in mind that the actual animal in the diorama doesn't specifically correlate. I can't talk anymore. Doesn't specifically correlate with the theme of the diorama. So obviously koalas don't live in caves, but yeah, that's the theme of the grey one, the cave. Now for silver, I went for something completely different. This is like the first one that I didn't go for a naturalistic kind of look, and I went for something completely man-made. Since, you know, silver, I think of metal and stuff, so that was the idea. It's 100% Star Wars inspired. That's basically what this build is. It's like a Star Wars spaceship kind of interior. It's like a cutout from a spaceship. I think all the dioramas are supposed to be cutouts of like environment or building. The silver one, I went for the snow leopard, since the snow leopard is also grey, but it's like a lighter grey, so it fits with silver. Yeah, you will see that the colours are sometimes a bit hard to get. The idea is that it's all the same, exactly the same colour, but you know, as you'll notice, some of the colours will look slightly different. But that's just, I guess that's the limits of this game. Not every piece is flexicolor either. But yeah, I do my best at least. And yeah, it was quite a fun and interesting challenge to do. Try to like think of a theme for each colour and then try to find pieces that would work in this colour. And first I tried to keep the animals in theme, like with the cheetahs for yellow. I went for the female peafowls for green, since they have like a green neck. And I went for the Arctic fox for the snowy area, for white. But then I gave up with the koalas. I thought, you know what, cave. And then for this one, it's even worse, because it's not even a natural environment, because this is space. Unless you have space snow leopards, that's very possible, but yeah, space. And then I thought, you know what, creative liberties, I'm just going to do whatever I want to build, and just add the animal with the similar colour. And it will look cool, and I thought it looked quite cool in the end. So yeah, as you can see, this build is like very Star Wars inspired, and the idea is, since that this is a cutout, that these are like the wires that are sticking out of the wall that is supposedly cut in half, so you see the wires poking out and all the interior of the wall. So yeah, that's why it looks like that. That's the general idea. There's a lot of ACs for some reason. It just looks futuristic and like Star Wars-esque. And a nice door to indicate that the hallway continues behind that door, obviously. So yeah, that's the silver. I'm not sure what the next color is because I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done this build, but yeah. Oh, also I did a nice little Star Wars Easter egg by adding those tiny droids that you can find in the Death Star. So yeah. Also, the next color is teal, and for teal, that was quite a difficult one because especially to choose an animal. As you can see, I used the male peafowls, which is the only animal for this diorama that I actually represent in two different colors, since the females have a green neck whilst the males have a blue neck. And obviously you'd think, well, why didn't you pick male peafowls for blue? And that's because I already got a different animal for blue, and I think since that the peafowl, the male one, has a green tail and a blue neck, I thought green and blue is kind of like teal if you mix those two colors. So does it count? Maybe not, but there is no teal animal, so I went for the closest thing I could think of, which was a peafowl, which has both the colors that requires to create teal, if that makes sense. For the actual teal environment, I went for a cliffy environment. As you can see, the rocks don't make sense. Like these are blue rocks, but it has to be the same color. You know, that's the exercise. And I tried to create this Mediterranean environment. That was the idea, because when I was looking through the plants, I noticed that I think it's the olive trees, which are obviously Mediterranean plants, they had a bit of a tealy look. Obviously it's not teal, okay? I had to get a bit creative. So as I said, it's not going to be the exact same color all around, but the olive trees have this kind of teal tint to it, a bit like blandy green, which was for me close enough to count as teal. So I thought, you know what, I can do some Mediterranean stuff. So that's what I did for this one. And yeah, this is probably so far one of my more favorite ones, but you'll see when we continue this build, one of the next ones, well actually a couple of next ones I definitely do prefer above this teal diorama. But yeah, it was still very fun to do, and trying to find, you know, pieces that are flexicolor or just pieces that happen to be teal. Good job we have flexicolor, because otherwise this exercise would have been near impossible. But yeah, as you can see, a nice it's like a holiday destination of some generic Mediterranean, maybe Greek. I think my most inspiration was from Greece, but yeah, it's just generic Mediterranean kind of architecture. And here are the Mediterranean plants. That you know what I mean, right? It's like, it's not teal, but if you really squint, it kind of looks a bit teal-y, maybe a bit. And yeah, then I thought, you know what, since it's a holiday destination, I'll add a nice spot to relax, to enjoy the sun, probably the beach. If obviously it wasn't a cutout, I'm sure there would be a beach in the distance. And yeah, I tried to find some blue plants, and I realized I can just use the flexicolor plants because there are no blue plants, because they don't exist. Yeah, and then we hop over to the next color in a bit, which is, oh yeah, also the name, Cliffs. If you had guessed that, props to you. Next is black, and black was actually, when I was talking about that there are other builds that were definitely better than the teal one. The next one straight away, this one was probably one of my favorites, and I'll probably say one of my favorites a lot, because every single time I tried to one-up my previous build, so tried to make it better and better and stuff like that. So you'll see that the builds slowly start to get higher quality, with a couple of exceptions. You'll see that. For some, I just did not have any inspiration, so yeah, excuse me for those. But this is the black diorama, which the inspiration for this was, you know, black is evil, I guess, or black is maybe not evil, but black is largely connected with spooky theme, with the nights, with black cats obviously unlucky, and or are not, but it's believed that they are unlucky, stuff like that. So black, you know, color of the night, is a haunted mansion. That's the idea, and it really feels like a haunted mansion, I must say. Despite being limited with the pieces that I can use, those roof pieces are the twilight shingle roof pieces, and they are flexicolor. but the moss isn't. So despite me actually making these roof pieces black, they still appear more grey in tone, since the moss kind of ruins the blackness of it. So I mean, it technically is black. I selected black. It just doesn't look black because of the moss, which is unfortunate, but what can you do, I guess. But yeah, obviously it's just a half of a building. It's not the full building. It's, as I said, it's just a cutout. But this half of a building looks like a haunted mansion. I wouldn't like to go in this building. I would probably be haunted, as the name suggests. The animal I chose for the black colour is the Siamang, and as I said before, the Siamang has nothing to do with haunted mansions. You'd probably think something like maybe a skunk or something would have fit better, but Siamangs are very, very black, which is obviously what I was going for. So that's why I went for the Siamangs. There is no animal blacker than the Siamangs, I think. So yeah. But yeah, just this one I really went out with details. I tried to get more details, and even though you don't really see the details since it's all the same color, but trust me, the details really make it work. And it ended up just looking like a spooky little house. Just you know, probably the Addams family would probably live here. You know, a lot of ghosts would hang around in this house. And then I thought, you know, the front is quite empty as well. So I made a little front garden, which you will see in a bit. Yeah, open the gate, and I add a front garden with some stones that you can't even see because they blend in with the black. For some reason, black is the hardest to distinguish from each other because it's just all black. But yeah, the rocks are distinguishable though, because the rocks are really black. The rocks are like blacker than black. For some reason, those faux rocks are just an abyss. They're a literal like nothingness, but that's cool, I guess. Unfortunately, the plaster doesn't have that same effect, but you know. And then yeah, so a very spooky, rocky environment, and then some dead trees because you know nothing lives in these harsh, spooky environments, and some black mushrooms as well. Now for blue, okay, I have to apologize for this one since I was out of inspiration for this one. I had absolutely no idea what I could do for blue. I was just thinking, what's blue? And then I thought, water is blue. And actually, I use those 3D printed walls to give that kind of water effect. So I use that as the fake water. And then I realized everything has to be blue. So blue beach, blue rocks, blue flowers, blue everything. Okay, it's not a pretty build, I will admit. It's quite an ugly build. It's maybe artistic. Some could argue it's a bit artistic. I would argue it's just lazy, really. I could have probably come up with something better. Now, this is one of the better ones, though. I really enjoyed the pink. And for pink, we obviously have the flamingos. Oh, and I forgot to mention that blue was the cassowary, purely for their blue neck. Yeah, because blue animals are very uncommon when it comes to habitat animals, at least. But yeah, the pink. Oh, that was fun. Initially, my inspiration was Barbie, obviously, you know, the whole Barbie movie thingy. So yeah, Barbie was my initial inspiration, but it really quickly just turned into Roman. Yeah, I don't know how it like switched from Barbie to ancient Rome, but yeah, this is a Roman build. So I built these like Roman temples that you have. Pink, obviously, and this one was really fun to do. And I wanted to give it like this idea that it's very rich, like a rich garden. There's a lot of pink flowers. There's a nice pond in the middle for the flamingos, obviously. But you know, gardens have ponds, so I really wanted to feel like this is some place for royalty, and in this case, probably Roman royalty. Yeah, and then those temple buildings that you obviously connect with Roman architecture, obviously ancient Roman architecture with the pillars and stuff like that. I copied it over to have two, and I add, oh yeah, the statue is quite good. I like the dodo statue because you can recolor it because it's fixed color, and then just a load of pink flowers, and it was really fun. Obviously the pink flowers have green as well because most plants have some sort of green, but at least you have the pink as well, right? Now for orange, this was a really good one as well because for some reason blue was just a bad one. You know, I'm sorry, blue was bad, but the next ones were really good because the orange one is, well, it was easy. You know, orange. The first thing I think of is autumn, Halloween, stuff like that. So I went for a nice little like autumn environment, but then I thought I've been doing buildings for a lot of the other ones. Now I feel required to add buildings to all the other ones. So yeah, I end up adding some pumpkins, and I then also end up adding some like miniature buildings. The idea is that it's like a miniature scale of just some simple houses, you know, bricks, since they're orange, obviously flexicolor bricks to make them even more orange. And just, yeah, it's a cute little tiny house. Yeah, that's how I can describe it best. It's a tiny house. And the idea now that I think of it, the idea is probably that it's Halloween and people are celebrating Halloween in autumn. For reds, oh wow, I'm not sure if I like red, maybe because it's a bit too negative. Yeah, basically I built hell. I built hell in Planet Zoo. Maybe inspired by Minecraft, possibly, but maybe a bit more inspired by Terraria with the crimson forest kind of thing, or whatever it is in Terraria. So yeah, that's literal hell. This one was really fun though. This is inspired by the Aztecs. Yeah, it's a nice Aztec temple for the golden color. This is gold, by the way. And the animal that represents gold is the Amur leopard. And yes, I know the Amur leopard does not live in what is now Mexico, but the Amur leopard is simply the goldest animal we have. And you might argue, but what about the jaguar? It's basically an Amur leopard, but from South America. And yes, I agree, but the actual in-game jaguar is not as golden. It's not as bright. The Amur leopard is more golden, so that's why I went for the Amur leopard. But yeah, I had to add the gold pieces since this is the gold diorama. So I added some gold pieces. I added the gold orangutan, and then all the dried brushes. Or I mean, like all the dried trees and grass. Since the dried grass is literally golden colored, golden grass, and also these trees, because these trees felt kind of gold. And I made another like kind of diorama, like forced perspective. The idea is that those are like the trees in the background on the mountain or something like that, or on the plateau. And yeah, this is the Golden Temple. Quite an obvious name, really. Now for purple, okay. There are no purple animals. I know it's a surprise. Well, maybe kind of. And with the kind of, I basically mean Babirusas. Babirusas kind of look purple, okay? If you really concentrate and really just use your imagination, Babirusas look a bit purple. And yeah, I guess the hippopotamus is more purple, but I felt like it was a bit too big. So yeah, Babirusas are, I think in my opinion, the best option for purple. And for purple, I thought of royalty, so I built a purple. It's more magenta really than purple. Yeah, for purple I went for a purple magical castle, a big, just medieval, very stereotypical castle. Yeah, there's nothing more I can say, but important detail is that it is magical, okay? It's a magical castle, that's why it's purple. Because purple is also the color of magic. It's like both, it's the color of magic and the color of royalty. So I did both, a magical castle. And you will definitely see that it's magical because I add some mushrooms, a magical forest. Now we go over to brown, and for brown I built a wasteland. This is quite a boring one as well. I mean, I like the kind of like the ground texture that I did with these faux rocks. But there's no building pieces in this one. It's just nature. I went for the wombat since it's brown. At least brown was easy. There's a lot of brown animals. I think the wombat was the brownest probably. The brownest, yeah. The wombat was the brownest. I mean, there's a lot of very brown animals, but the wombat is also just, I guess, fitting for the arid environment. So yeah, that's a quite boring one, I guess. Now the final one is Bordeaux, or is it Burgundy? I don't know. I'm not good with colors. I call it Bordeaux because I did a bit of Googling. What I gathered is that Bordeaux is darker and Burgundy is brighter. So since that this one is really dark, I thought Bordeaux, I guess? I don't know. Correct me if it's actually Burgundy. But I call it Bordeaux, you know, it works. And for Bordeaux, I went for an Asian shrine, just generic Asian. I didn't go for a specific, well, East Asian specifically, yeah. But not specifically Chinese or Japanese or Korean. But yeah, it's just it's a shrine. What more can I say? And it's Burgundy or Bordeaux. I don't know. I don't know what the color is. And for the animal, I went for the dwarf caiman. Since dwarf caiman is like a reddish brown color, which that's burgundy, right? Burgundy is just reddish brown. So for all you color nerds, I don't know if that's even a thing. I probably said this wrong. I'm probably wrong, but to me, Burgundy is just red brown. Okay. So yeah, Bordeaux, Burgundy, Temple, and this is probably my favorite one because I think I went most into detail of this one. Or maybe not specifically most detail. I just really liked the aesthetic of a like dark red temple. It feels a slightly bit evil, but at the same time, it feels very zen. It feels like I could relax here for a very long time. Yeah, I mean, I guess it works since, you know, zen is quite a Japanese thing. But yeah, for the final build, yeah, so that's the Burgundy Shrine, or the Bordeaux Shrine, whatever you want to call it. And then I'll do a little walkthrough, or probably just a cinematic at the end, and I'll show you every single like diorama piece in detail, with obviously every single animal that I've chosen. But yeah, that's the end of the speed build. So, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit during the cinematic.